Virgo, welcome to your astrology reading for the month of July. So before I get started, this is going to be most applicable for your rising sign, which is also your ascendant or the ruler of your first house. It's also applicable for your sun sign and your moon sign. So your rising sign is how other people perceive you. Your sun sign is how you express yourself. And then your moon sign is how you process everything emotionally. So really understanding all three will give you a better picture of how the month is going to play out. What's really interesting about the month of July, though, is that we actually have a second full moon in the sign of Capricorn. So we had one June 21st, and now we have one July 21st. And the emphasis here with Capricorn is really feelings around structures, responsibility, any kind of strategies that you might have put in place, long-term goals. All of that's really highlighted with the Capricorn energy. But it's not even just that. We also have two more retrogrades in this month of July. So we already had Pluto station retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. We had Saturn station retrograde on June 29th in the sign of Pisces. We'll have Neptune in Pisces station retrograde. In fact, that's the first thing that happens this month, as well as Chiron, the wounded healer, station retrograde later this month. And so kind of jumping into it, on the 2nd at 6:40 in the morning Eastern time, we'll have Neptune station retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Neptune retrograde in Pisces for you impacts your 7th house. So these are your significant relationships, those one-to-one relationships. This would be a spouse if you're married. Not everybody wants to be, but it would be those significant relationships. And so this is a lot of internal reflection on what kind of relationship do you want to have? What is it that you want with this person? Or maybe in general, what kind of relationship do you want to have? This Neptune will trine Mercury in the sign of Cancer. And so this Mercury in Cancer energy is focused on your friendships, conversations with friends, maybe understanding the depths and the emotions behind your group of friends. This is a very easy blend and flow of energy of the relationship that you want, anything connected to that, along with your friends and how you value and feel about your friends. We'll have Neptune retrograde sextile the moon in the sign of Taurus. This internal reflection of your significant relationship here creates an opportunity for some sort of emotional growth for yourself, because that Taurus energy is sitting in your 9th house and this is the moon. So this is all about your emotions. So when you think about what it is that you want from a relationship standpoint, what kind of opportunity does that create for you to grow and kind of lean into it emotionally? We'll also have Neptune retrograde sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so internal reflection of that significant relationship creates an opportunity to make more changes for your growth, because that's what Uranus wants to do. It wants to remove all of these things that might be holding you back. Neptune retrograde in the sign of Pisces will also sextile Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so this internal reflection of your one-to-one relationships creates an opportunity here for you to make some sort of adjustment in your daily life. Whatever changes that you want, Pluto retrograde, you're changing internally whatever it is that you want within your daily life. You're probably doing more than just that, but this is really getting you to a place of, on a regular basis, this is the kind of life that I want to live. These are the barriers that are keeping me from living it. And now when you think about your ideal relationship, or, the goals that you have, the dreams that you have with your significant other, what kind of opportunities does it create to maybe remove more barriers within your daily life? And then later that day on the 2nd, we'll have Mercury enter the sign of Leo. And so that's going to happen at 8:50 in the morning Eastern time. And so Mercury in the sign of Leo. Leo is very bold, very dynamic, very assertive, very outgoing type of person. Mercury, conversation, communication, processing information. I did not mean to rhyme, but you get it. And so when this happens, Mercury and Leo sitting in your 12th house. So what this means for you is a lot of internal reflection, and maybe the way that you speak to yourself internally might be shifting, or you might be just really getting yourself ready to do something here that is bold and dynamic, because that Mercury and Leo energy, you're really thinking about things internally. And this Mercury in Leo is also trine Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so whatever you're doing internally, whatever action you want to take, internally or processing information, communication, talking to yourself, it really easily flows with the ideal relationship that you want to have. So this could be a lot of self-talk that's taking place. You might be really stepping out of your comfort zone to go after the type of relationship that you want. This Mercury in Leo will also sextile the moon in the sign of Taurus. And so any kind of bold internal conversation that you're having with yourself, it's also creating some sort of opportunity here for you to focus on your emotional growth and really focus here on what it is that you value and want to grow in that respect. So taking what you value and just expanding it in some sort of way. This Mercury in Leo will also sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so if there's anything that's been holding you back from going after that kind of growth that you want for yourself, you're being given an opportunity here to remove some of those blockages with that Uranus energy. We'll have Mercury in Leo square Chiron in Aries. And so again, your bold internal conversation with yourself, it is creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to healing of a wound here. There is a lot of emphasis on 7th house kind of showing up already this month. And so it could be something connected to an intimacy wound. Power and control issues might be something coming to the surface. That might also be connected to money, just because it is 8th house energy. And so this would be other people's money. This is also transformation. So it is death and rebirth, where maybe you're just having a hard time letting go of something. And this Mercury and Leo energy, it's creating some sort of challenge to healing from maybe a release, like something that you know that you need to let go of and you need to heal from that. There's something about it. This Mercury in Leo is also opposite Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so whatever internal conversation you're having with yourself, that bold conversation, it's opposite to the changes that are happening in your daily life. And so with the square and with this opposition, so the wound coming to the surface, the daily life that doesn't seem to be aligned, or the changes happening here that don't seem to be aligned, you can work with the energy. It just requires you to work through it. You just have to be diligent and get through it. And then on the 5th, we'll have the new moon in the sign of Cancer. So that's going to happen at 6:57 in the afternoon, well, I guess evening, Eastern time. And so with the new moon in Cancer, so this is where the sun and the moon, they're at the same degree point in the sky, easy blend of energies. So sun, your self-expression, your moons, your emotions. So really expressing how you feel. And within the sign of Cancer, I mean, this is the depths of your feelings. And for you, this is all sitting in your house of friendships. So your community around you, expressing yourself in a very authentic way. Maybe the way that you feel about them. It's like your outward expression and your inward reflection of that fully align. The sun and moon will also conjunct Venus in the same sign of Cancer. And so really focused here on what you value within your friendships, maybe bringing people together, something along those lines. We'll have the sun and moon in Cancer trine Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So this new moon is blending with whatever internal work you're doing as far as what kind of relationship do you want to have. And so really expressing yourself with your friends, it just blends with whatever you see yourself doing, whatever your long-term relationship goals are. There is just an easy blend of this energy. We'll also have the sun and moon sextile Mars in the sign of Taurus. And so expressing yourself with your friends, how you feel about your friends, maybe bringing things together, maybe even bringing people together. It's creating some sort of opportunity for you to take action as it relates to your growth. And so that Mars and Taurus sitting in your 9th house, again, all about growth, what you value, taking something here. Mars usually likes to separate things, so this could actually be releasing something that's been holding you back from growth, but more along the lines of it, like it wants to amplify it. It wants to take more action for your growth. We'll also have the sun and moon square Chiron in Aries, and so expressing your feelings with your friends or what you value about your friends, it's creating obstacles or challenges for you to heal some sort of wound here. So it could be an intimacy wound, death and rebirth. It could be hard to let go of something here. And it's not just that it's going to square Chiron in the sign of Aries. This new moon will square both the North Node and the South Node. And the North Node is about the action that you need to take. South Node is where you feel comfortable right now. And so North Node in the sign of Aries, there's a lot of emphasis on taking some sort of action here in this 8th house, in this transformation. This could also be other people's money, or like the money that you earn. So expressing how you feel might be creating challenges for you to just take some sort of action as it relates to the money that you're making, or any kind of transformation. But it's also from a 2nd house standpoint, because that's also money. This would be the money that you have. If you feel very balanced within your personal finances, or things are kind of the way that you want them to be, expressing yourself or expressing your feelings might create some sort of challenge here. This could be something where it's as simple as spending more than what you would have wanted to when you're out with friends, something along those lines. It's an obstacle or challenge you can work through. Both, in fact, all 3 squares that are showing up are things that you can work through. And then on the 11th, we'll have Venus enter the sign of Leo. So that's going to happen at 12:19 in the afternoon Eastern time. This Venus and Leo energy is sitting in your 12th house. So this is your house of subconscious. Venus and Leo, very interesting combination, because Leo is very bold and very dynamic, but also very loyal. And so is Venus. Venus likes to bring things together. So this is that loyal energy. And where this is really aligning for you, because it is your 12th house, you're very loyal to who you are, to the foundations of who you are. And this Venus and Leo will trine Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so kind of honoring who you are blends with the type of relationship that you want to have, that significant relationship you want in your life, or maybe you already have in your life. This Venus and Leo will sextile the moon in the sign of Virgo. And so really being loyal to yourself, honoring who you are, creates an opportunity for you to maybe heal something physical about yourself, or understand the impact of something here happening to you. Because that Virgo energy, your sign, it's your physical person. It is who you are on the outside, versus the Leo energy, which is who you are on the inside. We'll also have Venus and Leo sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so Venus and Leo sextile Uranus and Taurus. I don't know if I said the word sextile, but anyway, it's creating some sort of opportunity here for you to take some sort of action, really releasing something here that is just not for your growth. Uranus, any kind of structure, anything, barrier, restriction that just needs to go away in order for you to feel grounded, to be able to grow. It's creating some sort of opportunity here. Venus and Leo, 12th house, a square Chiron and Aries, 8th house. And so what's really interesting about these 2 houses, these are both transformational type of houses. They're both considered malefic or death houses, if you want to put it that way. Chiron and Aries, again, when it comes to maybe some sort of intimacy wound, power and control issues, something along those lines, a death and rebirth type of energy. But this, you're being very loyal to yourself and who you are internally, and it's creating some sort of challenge. There's something here that you need to let go of, or there's something here that you need to heal from, and it's just creating this obstacle or challenge. We'll also have this Venus and Leo energy opposite Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so what this means is, for you, honoring yourself is opposite to the changes that you're making in your daily life. And again, this would be more like barriers being lifted, things happening here that are just not in your best interest. That's what both Uranus and Pluto want to do here, is remove those things that are just not in your best interest. And so it's an opposition. You can work with it. It is that push-pull kind of energy. Then we'll have Mars enter the sign of Gemini. So that's going to happen on the 20th at 4:43 in the afternoon Eastern time. And when this happens, so Mars is the planet of action. Gemini is all about communication, but really getting into the details of the communication here. And so Mars and Gemini energy is very informed type of action. For you, that's sitting in your 10th house of career. So whatever decisions that you're making, whatever action that you want to take within your career, this Mars and Gemini is going to aid you. And what it's also going to do is it's going to blend with your ideal relationship, because there is this trine to Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so whatever actions you're taking within your career completely align with the type of significant relationship that you want in your life. This Mars in Gemini will also sextile the moon in the sign of Virgo. And so informed action and decisions that you're making within your career are also creating opportunities for you to heal something about yourself, or to maybe understand the full impact here of what it is that's happening and how does that impact you physically as well as emotionally. We'll also have Mars in Gemini sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So whatever actions that you're taking within your career, things that are informed, you do know all the details here. It's creating an opportunity for you to remove something here that's holding you back, something that's preventing your growth. We'll have Mars in Gemini square Chiron in Aries. And so informed action within your career does create some sort of challenge to any kind of healing that you want to do for yourself. Any kind of wound coming to the surface. And again, it's aligning with so many other areas in your life. This is more of an evolution. You'll see towards the end of the month that there is actually a way, and we'll start to see some of this Chiron energy, some of these wounds being given a chance to heal. But it's not that you couldn't do it now. It just requires you to really work through it. This Mars in Gemini will also be opposite Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so whatever actions you're taking within your career, they're opposite whatever changes are occurring in your daily life. So whatever structures are changing, wherever you need to be more flexible in your daily life, there is some sort of opposition. So it's almost like you might need some structures. And Aquarius is not against structure. It just wants structures in a way that's meaningful and flexible here. So it's about finding that happy medium between the two. And then on the 21st, we have our second full moon in the sign of Capricorn. So this happens at 6:17 in the morning Eastern time. The previous one was June 21st. And so what happens here for you is this is 5th house, 11th house energy. So the moon is sitting in your 5th house. This is children, this is fun, passion projects, hobbies, things like that. And it's opposite your house of community and friendships. And so this could be something about as simple as the structures you put in place to maybe, I don't know, maybe the routine that you have in place with your children. It's opposite really going out and enjoying yourself with friends. I mean, it could be something as simple as that. This moon in Capricorn will trine Mars in the sign of Gemini. And so however you feel about structures that you have, the responsibilities that you have, maybe to your passion projects, your hobbies, something along those lines, it aligns with the actions that you're taking in your career. So it could be something where it is kids. And so all of it kind of just blends together. The actions fully align, the actions in your career fully align with maybe the timing that you see your children or something along those lines. Or it could be something about making time for your passion projects, kind of like this. And so this is that energy. It does easily blend. Whereas the sun here, because the sun is also talking to Mars and Gemini, it's a sextile, so it's creating an opportunity. Expressing yourself with friends and the depths of your feelings with your friends. It also creates an opportunity for more action within your career. And again, it's all based on all of the details that you already know. These are informed decisions that you're making. The moon in Capricorn will square Chiron in the sign of Aries. And so how you feel about your responsibilities or to the structures that you have in place as it relates to children, your passion projects, short-term relationships, all of those things coming to the surface, it is creating some sort of obstacle or challenge to whatever wound is coming up related to maybe intimacy, because fifth house can be short-term relationships. We don't talk a lot about that, but that could absolutely be one that's coming to the surface. Maybe you have some sort of fear around intimacy, and so you like the structures that you have in place. It just creates some sort of challenge so that you're not able to heal the wound, which means it's going to stay there. But it could be also some sort of transformation. And while the moon does that, the sun actually does as well. So expressing yourself and the depths of your feelings with your friends does also create some sort of obstacle or challenge here to healing a wound. And so again, if you think about intimacy wounds can take on a lot of different meanings. They don't have to come from a significant relationship or like that intimate romantic type of relationship. You can have other intimacy wounds with friends. You can have friends betray you and they can cut just as deep, if not deeper, than a romantic connection that doesn't end well. So just kind of keep that in mind here. That could be one of the reasons that expressing your feelings with your friends can also create this opportunity with healing some sort of wound. This moon in Capricorn will trine Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And so these structures that you have in place, how you feel about your responsibilities, all of these things, it does blend with whatever changes are needed in order for you to grow. So really positive from that perspective. The sun in Cancer, so those conversations that you're having with friends, expressing yourself, expressing your feelings with them, it also creates an opportunity for more changes to take place as it relates to your growth. This moon in Capricorn energy will also sextile Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And so whatever it is, like from a, let's say it is children, just because we do have your significant other showing up if you have one, whatever you have in place and however you feel about your responsibilities to your children, or any kind of structure you have is around, like, I spend these hours of the day with them because otherwise they're in school or they're at whatever camp, whatever it is. And so it's something along those lines. It is actually creating an opportunity for you to have the relationship that you want, that ideal relationship. And if the relationship already exists, I mean, it's just creating an opportunity to make it even more of what you want. We'll have the sun in Cancer trine Neptune retrograde in Pisces. So expressing your feelings with your friends also blends with the type of relationship that you want. It's almost like if you can get comfortable expressing yourself with your friends, you can be even more comfortable expressing yourself with your partner here. Moon in Capricorn will also conjunct Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so this is where those structures, that sense of responsibility that you feel maybe towards children or your passion projects, it does completely align. In fact, it really just blends with the changes that are taking place in your daily life. You feel really good about this. This is a very positive interaction. The sun in Cancer will actually be opposite Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so expressing yourself with your friends, how you feel about them, all of those things, is opposite the changes happening in your daily life. And so this could be something here where, I'm trying to think of a really good hypothetical, and I'm not getting one. So it's going to be too scattered, because the changes that are happening in your daily life, they can take on any real meaning here. It could be anything, but anything including spending time with friends. And so maybe you really enjoy spending time with friends, and that would be opposite if you're making less time to spend with friends. That would be an opposition type of energy where it's a push-pull. You can find the happy medium. You just have to work for it. And then on the 22nd, we have the sun enter the sign of Leo. So that's going to happen at 3:45 in the morning Eastern time. And so when this happens, the sun will trine Neptune retrograde in the sign of Pisces. Now for you, the sun in Leo is sitting in your 12th house. This is, again, bold conversation that's all happening internally, being very loyal to yourself. It's going to blend with the type of relationship that you want to have here. It's also going to create an opportunity for you to make some sort of informed decision and take some action here at work, because it will also sextile Mars in the sign of Gemini. It's also going to create an opportunity to remove things in your career, or in your growth, that just don't work for you anymore. It's going to sextile Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So if there's something that's been holding you back, if there's some sort of structure or belief system or something else that's been holding you back, really talking to yourself and talking yourself up internally is going to create an opportunity to remove that restriction or remove that barrier from your life so that you can grow. We'll also have the sun in Leo opposite Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so again, 12th house, 6th house energy. And so however you're talking to yourself, whatever it is that you're doing internally, it is opposite to the changes that are taking place within your daily life. And daily life doesn't just mean like Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 kind of thing. It's the things that you do on a regular basis. So if you have a thing where, I'm just going to say like softball on Saturdays or something along those lines, that would be considered your daily routine. That would be something that you do on a regular basis. It's not those one-off parties that you attend because somebody graduated from high school. That doesn't happen all the time. That kind of energy. And so it is this push-pull from like your normal regular routine and the changes happening there versus some sort of bold internal communication. It feels a lot like getting your confidence back in a way, and it's opposite maybe changes that are taking place here. Then on the 25th, we have Mercury enter the sign of Virgo. And so Mercury rules Virgo as well as Gemini. But with the Virgo element, there is this additional layer of healing connected to it. And so this is going to happen on the 25th at 6:42 in the evening Eastern time. When this happens, Mercury will trine Chiron in Aries. And so Mercury in Virgo, thinking about how you feel, because Virgo does focus on healing, so there is an emotional element connected to it. It's sitting in your first house. So thinking about who you are and who you want to be, trine Chiron and Aries. And so what this is doing is it's blending with whatever this wound is that's coming to the surface that needs to be healed. So whatever action you need to take in order to heal the wound, it fully aligns. Like, you understand what you need to do in order to heal this wound, because we literally have Virgo and we've got Chiron. So we've got the healing with the wound taking place, and we've got a lot of action with Aries. It's sitting in your house of transformation, also an action oriented. We've got Mercury, so you're processing and understanding the impact of all of it. So really, really positive here. We'll also have Mercury in Virgo square Mars in Gemini. And so when you think about what it is that you need to do for yourself, specifically when it comes to this Chiron energy that's really happening at the same time, it's creating some sort of obstacle or challenge for you to take some sort of action within your career. But this is something that you can work through. You just have to work through it. Same thing with the square to Uranus and Taurus sitting in your 9th house. And so something here needs to change in order for you to grow. You do have to kind of work through the energy because it is a challenge, but it really does kind of start with that Chiron energy. Healing the wound, it does feel like it's going to start to open up things for you. Then we have Chiron station retrograde on the 26th at 9:59 in the morning Eastern time. So it's really just hours later after Mercury enters the sign of Virgo, we have Chiron station retrograde. And so when Chiron stations retrograde in Aries, it will be conjunct the moon in Aries. What this means for you is all this energy is sitting in that transformation house, that death and rebirth, intimacy wounds. So whatever this wound is that's coming to the surface, because this is a hidden wound coming to the surface, with all of this Aries energy and with the emotions connected to it, you're going to know exactly what you need to do because you realized it the night before, but you're also going to feel and understand what actions you need to take in order to heal. It's like this realization of what you need to do in order to move through this or heal from it. That doesn't mean that the healing is going to take place right away. It's just more of that, I get it now. This is what I need to do. Because this Chiron will also trine Mercury in the sign of Aries. And so really getting what it is that you want out of this energy. Oh, sorry, Mercury in Virgo. I wrote it down wrong. So this is more of that healing energy. So that Mercury in Virgo trine this Chiron retrograde does indicate that you will fully understand the actions that you need to take. How's that going to impact you on an emotional level? What does that healing look like for you? And really understanding what the wound is itself. A lot of times these wounds come to the surface and we don't understand the full gravity or the full impact of those, but this feels a lot like you do, and you're able to work with that energy. Chiron retrograde will also trine Venus in the sign of Leo. And this Venus and Leo energy is really being loyal to yourself internally. And so when you think about the actions that you're going to take related to healing this wound, it honors who you are. It helps you. It aids you in that way. This Chiron retrograde in Aries will create a square, or is square, to Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And so what this indicates to me is that as you kind of go through this healing process, you will probably need to make more changes in your daily life in order to accommodate who you're becoming, this healed version of who you are. This Pluto retrograde does indicate that these are all internal changes. So the way that you see your daily routine or making modifications to your daily routine. Pluto retrograde in Aquarius they don't have to be life altering. They don't have to be these big, bold, dynamic changes. And those have probably already been happening. This is because we've been sitting in this energy for a while. But for you specifically, it just indicates that you need to be a little bit more flexible, or maybe loosen up some of those structures that you have in place. That would be that Pluto retrograde in Aquarius. And that would be the square energy. It's something that you can work through. You do just have to work through it. So Virgo, this is your reading. I hope it resonates. If it did, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Take care.